everybody's had a chance to read their minutes and operating statements from last month. We need a motion to pass those.
I'll make a motion that we approve the operating statement, September 23rd, 2013 council meeting minutes, and October 7th, 2013 work session minutes.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, ayes.
Aye.
Noes, motion's carried. Under mayor's report, it's kind of short this month. Still have meetings with the WRCC in Westminster, and then we had a meeting a couple of weeks ago with the gentleman that I think Dr. some Kelly or whatever his name was, talking about the stormwater and what do you call rain tax fees that they want to assess us for. Really still don't know what's going to happen there. We have one of the commissioners saying that we should go with this coalition and sue them, but it's suing the federal government, and you know, most of the towns don't have that kind of money to get into a process like that. So we're just now still working to see what's going to come out of that. I guess in the next couple of months we'll see what's going to happen. Doesn't look very good. We have, in the next couple of months, we will have a estimated fee of what it's going to cost residents in Union Bridge, and probably by spring we may have to decide how we're going to assess that, whether we're going to do it on the water bills. A lot of the places are talking about doing them, and right now with their stormwater, with their storm restoration, with the bay fee that they're putting on their water bills when they're sending them out, they're saying that this is not a fee from the town. They're letting people know when they get their water bills that this is a fee from the government, so that they don't think the town's the one that's putting this fee on there. So I guess by spring we'll know what we're going to have to do with that. It looks like right now that nobody wants to pay anything more on their water bills, but it'd be smart for the town to start assessing a fee rather than waiting till 2017 to come up, when it looks like at that time the town would have to come up with over like $300,000 to pay for this fee. So it's better to charge a little bit at a time than wait and have $300,000 we're going to have to come up with. So we'll have more on that to come. Francis Scott Key School did have their parade, their homecoming parade, a couple of weeks ago in Tawnytown, and it was really a very, very nice parade. There was a lot of people there, and I talked to the ladies that were in charge of the parade, and they said next year they're thinking about having the parade in Union Bridge, and they would like to change the date because a lot of the football players weren't able to be there because they had football practice and different things, and they're talking about maybe on a Sunday afternoon. I told them that we would work with them, but it would be up for them to check with the state highway and get their permits and everything like they did in Tawnytown. But I think it was very beneficial. It was a lot of people there, and I said that they probably had as many people watching that parade that day as we did for our firemen's parade when we had the carnival. So it was very, very nice. 2 weeks ago, we were just discussing, they had the drug summit down at the Carroll Arts Center building in Westminster. It was 2 weeks ago on a Tuesday night. And the reason why I go every year, because you get to find out what all the new drugs are and what the kids are talking about. And I brought some information back, and we talked about putting a list of things that parents should watch out for in our next newsletter. But then after Dawn and I talked, we figured it would be better not to put it in the newsletter. There'd be copies here if anybody wants them, but not to put it in the newsletter, because you may still have some children out there that don't experiment with it, and we don't want to give them any ideas. So if any parent or anybody wants a copy of some of this new slang that's going on and these types of drugs, feel free to come to the town office and we'll give you a copy of it. But at this time, I don't think it'd be very wise to put it out there, because we still may have some that are still experimenting, and we don't want to give them any ideas. Last week, attended the fall convention for Maryland Municipal League at Solomon's Island. It was Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And on Friday afternoon, I had to attend a workshop on open meetings laws that they say as of October 1st, every municipality, when they have a council meeting, must have somebody that is certified in open meetings laws that gets certification. And it was held, and the class was given through the Academy of Excellence. So I did attend that. I guess they'll send the certification, and they're going to have this again next spring or next summer at the summer convention. And hopefully sometime next year they'll make it available online for anybody that wants to take it. Surprisingly enough, we are doing good, John, with the way we do our. I mean, most of it is, you know, what you can do at an open meeting, what you can do for closed meetings, and we've been following the rules. There are some municipalities that haven't been, especially with some of the towns that have some new mayors and some new council people. They just they really didn't know what the rules and the laws were, and they were just doing it on a whim. And so I think they learned a lot from that. So it was a lot of discussion on that. It was some discussion on some of the towns are going more on putting information out on Facebook and their website, which we do on our website now. But as far as Facebook, we're not involved in that. Right now, I'm really not too keen on going with that Facebook idea. There's some, like anything else, there's some problems with that. But other than that, it was, the weather was good. We were right down next to where the Air Force and the airplanes go out for testing and everything, so you always heard these big planes going out and everything over top of you. You're hoping they stay up in the air, and they were testing them, but it was, other than that, it was pretty good. And that's about all that I have on that. Oh, if anybody's hasn't seen, out here on 75, right here at the bridge, right past the car wash, they're painting the bridge right now. I know we all seem to think it's probably about $50,000 going down the drain, but that's what the state highway wants to do. They want to paint the bridge. I'd rather see a new bridge go in, but we don't have much say over that. We're working with them. Matter of fact, last Wednesday afternoon, a gentleman was here from the new floodplain management things, and we talked about the bridge. I showed him some pictures, and he is from another organization through the state that he says he's going to try and see what help he can find for us. But one state person says, this guy says he thinks we need a new bridge, and the state says we don't need a new bridge. So we'll know how that goes. So we'll just keep working with them and see what happens. That's about all I have for right now. John?
Okay, just really two quick follow-ups, and they both relate to things we talked about last month. You all may have heard that what came of the Carroll County Building Code Review Project is that they've formed a code enforcement steering committee to talk about some of the issues. We talked about that last week. We didn't know that it was going to end up as a steering committee, so they've invited people around the county to participate in that committee if you're interested. So I won't repeat what we talked about last month, but just in case you hadn't heard, that's sort of out there right now. I guess the other thing, just following up on the stormwater management realm, Ned Cumin reported to the Planning Commission that he had followed up with the county about the stormwater management or the wastewater treatment plant and its location in the 100-year floodplain. And I think it's more or less confirmed that that is the plant is in the 100-year floodplain. And Ned then followed up with MDE to find out, well, what does that mean in terms of expansion, upgrade, renovation, replacement? And it really does depend a little bit on which of those we're talking about. So if we're talking about replacing the entire plant, that may put us in one category. If we're talking about expanding what we have or upgrading what we have, that may be another category. But it appears feasible in terms of the licensing structure at MDE that we can work within the floodplain at that location. And there are certain flood protection measures that will most likely apply if we get to that point. So the idea that we must move it is out of the floodplain to another location is, I guess it's not out of the realm of possibility, but it isn't necessarily the answer either. So there may be more options than what we thought several years ago when we got the study. And I think that's kind of an ongoing discussion that Ned is having. But I also think that at some point, we're going to have to get to that engineering stage where a person that speaks the language of the engineers and MDE is having that discussion, with them and explaining exactly the types of methods and improvements that would be done. But in any event, that's just a sort of a quick update of Ned's more extensive report, I would say, but that's the gist of it. And that's all I have.
Okay. Let's see, Jared's not here tonight. We have anything, we don't know what any of his report is that we doing, okay? Okay, we're going to get down to public comments and concerns. Anybody have anything? Selby?
I'm from the Lions Club tonight, and they want you to build us a new library. They figured you wouldn't do it,
Okay.
so we propose to build one. It's take a book, give a book.
Oh, one of these boxes. I've seen,
And we'd like to put it down by the statue. For any private place, private property. I think it should be on public street.
This is what we had talked about in one of our work sessions.
I was gonna try have one of my sons
Yeah.
do it for his eagle.
And we might get Silver Oaks as the building for us.
Ooh.
no, would that be locked or just,
No.
you just, people could put a book in, take a book out?
But we have to get your permission, so. Unless you have an idea of where a better place to put it.
Oh, I don't know. You want to look at that, Donald, and think about it, or?
Yeah. I'll meet you down there, Selby.
All right.
See if we can.
We'd like to get it going.
I had a lady call the other week, and forgive me, I have her name wrote down. She called and she said that with our monument that we should be thinking about putting that under shelter because it's not, that monument wasn't made to set out and it should have a roof over it. I didn't know stone monument had to
I
have a
don't
roof
know
over it.
what,
Now, she's got a hand.
granted.
I'll give you her phone number and you can suggest that to her.
Okay, that's what we had in mind.
I have
Okay.
a question on that. The libraries, who would be maintaining those once you put them up?
The Lions Club.
The Lions Club would maintain them? Okay.
We're gonna have to turn it over to the town.
I just was curious. Thank you.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah, we'll let Donald work with you on that.
Okay. I hope we don't have to put a hole down too far.
Yeah, that's kind of hard digging.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. One thing I have under public comments and concerns, this weekend, starting Friday night, of course, Friday evening will be classroom work, but Saturday and Sunday will be the fire company's heavy rescue training that they have once a year. They'll have squad trucks from Union Bridge. Last year, they had Union Bridge, Reese. They had companies from Tonytown, companies as far away as West Virginia. There was about 10 different companies there last year. This is one of the only heavy rescue classes in the state of Maryland. And we're fortunate enough to have that here in Union Bridge, and they're going to have that again. It'll start Friday evening at the fire hall with just classroom work. Saturday will be some demonstrations at the fire company parking lot. There'll be the heavy rescue part of it will be out at Quaker Hill Road at the Lehigh property. They'll have demonstrations with large equipment like big cement trucks, tractor trailers, things like that. It is very interesting because we do have probably not the only place in Carroll County that has a lot of truck traffic, but you know, people say about the truck traffic in Union Bridge, but these trucks also go through Tonytown, New Windsor, Westminster, and 140, so to Liberty Town. So when you have like 240 trucks a day going out of Union Bridge, they're going somewhere. So this is one of the best classes around. So anybody wants to go out and just watch it for a little while, but I say Saturday and Sunday would be the main parts of it. Very interesting. That's all I have. We'll go into committee reports. Ellen? Yes, Bill?
Is everybody aware that Jackson is still on at Fiasco?
I don't know. Are you aware of anything, Amy?
No.
I've been out there for 3 days.
I saw him there yesterday working.
Lines chipped up from there to Scott Key.
That line's there, so it's up to them to fix it.
What's that, 3-inch line, 4-inch line, 3 inch? Yeah, way too small,
Yeah, I said it's too
way
small.
too small.
Yeah. Their engineers designed it, so,
I just never got over quite
yeah.
understand that.
Don't they have some kind of grinding system up there?
They probably do.
They must.
They have a grinder. There's supposed to be a grinder at Key, and then most of this was just supposed to be effluent and stuff.
Yeah.
So they
It's
have a problem.
pre-treated, isn't it?
Yeah, they have a problem on their end somewhere.
The gentleman said that it is a grinder that works, but still something that's
Yeah,
got to pass through.
yeah. But they should have, when they put that in there, they should have put a bigger line in, which they didn't. And that's just the way the school board operates things. The fire company has noticed also at the school up at Elmer Wolf that the hydrant system up there, the hydrants are the ones that set at the parking lot that goes down through the parking lot. There's 2 hydrants, one about halfway back and the one that goes back at the building. Those hydrants work good for the sprinkler system, but if there was a fire there, that hydrant's good for that. But if we'd ever have a fire there, we'd have to go to the hydrant on Main Street and the one in front of the building, because that's just the way the school board does it. They do it through the hydrant, but it doesn't give enough flow to also pump to water. So that's the thing that we found out with the other schools around here. They're the same way. So it's a cheaper way of doing it, but it passes the code. Okay, Ellen?
I have 5 tickets that I'd like to get council approval to give to our attorneys to submit to the state's attorney for disposition. There's an error in the writing of the ticket, registrations that have been canceled, out-of-state tags they can't find, and one where there was an issue with the parking meter itself. So do you need a motion for that, or?
Yes, mm-hmm.
I make a motion that we give parking ticket numbers 5839, 5874, 5923, and 5956, and 6097 to the town attorney for submittal to the state's attorney for disposition.
I'll second that.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, ayes.
Aye.
Noes, motion's carried.
And you have those, don't you, John?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay. Next thing was, we talked in our town work session the beginning of the month about a nice little things that they could put on the businesses could put downtown. So do you want those, Amy? Because I don't know
Yes.
what businesses.
That'd be
You've got 9 of
wonderful.
them there. If you need more, let me know.
Okay,
Pass those around,
great,
Amy.
thank you.
I attended the MML meeting for the Communications Committee last week, and the information for the essay contest is available. I can get it to you. It's not being published to the schools yet. They don't do that till about, I think it's December for the If I Were Mayor contest. And November is Municipal Government Works Month, so they'd like us to, do our activities to continue with our town banner city program. Visiting the school is one of the things you can do. But there's several other things, and I guess maybe we'll put the flag back out again this year.
Yes.
Okay.
And these two ladies have graciously,
So
volunteered.
would you like me to give you the flyer for the contest, even though it's not out
Yes.
to the teachers yet?
Yes.
I'll get one of those printed out and dropped off here for you, okay?
Thank you.
And we're still working on the shadow subcommittee, the subcommittee for the shadowing program that we're revamping since nobody seems to have used it in the past.
Okay.
And then at the work session, we talked about some issues that we're having with parking that we wanted to address with RVs and trailers and that kind of thing. And so I looked through a lot of different municipalities and what they have in there. And I looked at ours and tried to figure out where the best place to put it would be. And so when I looked through it, it looked like the best place to be, it would be where they have, letter J, where they have the large vehicles and farm machinery, because they already have trailers in there. Okay. And basically, did you get a copy of this, John, too?
Just.
Basically, what I suggest is changing that to large vehicles, farm machinery, trailers, and recreational vehicles. No person shall park any truck exceeding 3/4 ton capacity, bus, towed vehicle, except recreational vehicles, trailer, or farm machinery upon any street, alley, or highway for a period of more than 4 hours. Recreational vehicles, motorized, tow behind, and fifth wheel may not be parked on any street or highway without procuring a permit from the town office. The permit for the recreational vehicle parking is valid for only one continuous 24-hour period and must be prominently displayed on the recreational vehicle while parked on the street, alley, or highway. That gives anybody who wants to put their recreational vehicle, whether it be one that's motorized or a fifth wheel or one they hook up to the back of their van, on the street for 24 hours to get it ready to go wherever they're going to go. Trailers were already covered in there. They cannot be on the street for more than 4 hours. It doesn't say just business trailers or just boat trailers, any trailer. So trailers that have been parked on the street for more than 24 hours or more than 4 hours are violating this ordinance or this code that's already in effect.
So we really don't have to change anything, just enforce what we already have.
Well, I added the, if you read the original one, it says, large vehicles and farm machinery, no person shall park any truck exceeding 3/4 ton capacity, bus, towed vehicle, trailer, or piece of farm machinery upon any street or highway for a period of more than 4 hours. So I added in the part about the recreational vehicles, because it just seemed like that would be a good place to put it, rather than trying to put another whole letter in there.
So the first sentence is the same as what exists, is that?
You just added this whole part.
The first sentence is the same, except that I defined towed vehicle, I said except recreational vehicles. I added that in there. So the first sentence is the same, and then I add the sentence, well, the two sentences about recreational vehicles. And if we agree to do this, I can make up a little permit thing that we have to do is mark on it the starting date and the ending date so that it's clearly marked.
When you say only one continuous 24-hour period.
That means if you get it today at 9 o'clock, tomorrow at 9 o'clock, it needs to be back off the street.
When can they apply for another one?
When they come back from their trip. I mean, it's I'm not sure how to word it for that.
You could say per month, per week, per whatever.
Okay, the whole purpose behind giving them the permit is so that they can get their vehicle ready to go if they're going away or something like that. So if you say per month, and I'm going on a week-long trip, that means I'm going to put it in front of my house long enough to get it all loaded up to go.
And then when you get back,
And then when I get back, I'm not going to be able to put it in front of my house to unload the stuff out of it.
Why doesn't the 4-hour rule work? Is that just not enough time when you're loading an RV? Is that the idea?
I would think it would be enough time, you know, that we just have some people that just leave them set overnight rather than moving them, you know. But the
For
4 hour,
weeks.
I mean, the 4-hour thing would work. I mean, if a person was bringing it in to clean it out or to load it up, I mean, they could still do it in 4 hours.
This way they could load it and then unload it when they get back,
Right.
as long as they don't run over the 4 hours at a time.
So in other words, just knock out the 2 sentences that I added and just put
Treat it like farm machinery or
Add-
bus or,
recreational vehicles in there, in the list of vehicles it applies. That, I don't have a problem with that.
Would that make sense, John? Just add recreational vehicles to the phrase that we already, the paragraph we already have?
So in other words, if we did it that way, it would be that no person shall park any truck exceeding 3/4 ton capacity, bus, towed vehicle, trailer, recreational vehicle, or piece of farm machinery upon any street or highway for a period of more than 4 hours.
Okay, you're talking about 3/4 ton. What if it is less than that?
That only applies to the large vehicle.
What if it's less than 3/4 ton?
If it's a recreational vehicle, they can only park it for 4 hours. It doesn't say, it's, no person shall park any truck exceeding 3/4 ton capacity. Bus, doesn't say what capacity. Towed vehicle, doesn't say what capacity. Trailer. So the 3/4 ton capacity only applies to the truck the way that I read it.
Yeah,
Is that correct, John?
That's right, yeah.
Right, so it doesn't matter what size it is.
I mean, we're not worried about the person that's going to park for 3 hours and 59 minutes and then move it back, and, you know, we've had some of that
Well,
in the past.
you know, we hope that doesn't happen. I mean, you know, our problem is, you know, with some of our other parking problems we've had in the past is that it's some of it is spite the neighbor, so they moved their, you know, it says you can't park it for over 7 days, and they moved their vehicle back and forth and every couple days and things like that. So it's,
I mean, that would be a way to circumvent the 4-hour rule. And the other way, you do have to come in and get a permit. If that's, I'm not sure I have a handle on the problem. Exactly what we're trying to, what our problem is that we're trying to resolve.
it's the same problem that we have with their vehicles just parking there, and then they move the car after, because the ordinance says 7 days after it sits there. So now we have, people want to know if they can park a boat trailer there. And of course, we had another situation in town that another person had a boat trailer that parked on the street for almost a year, just except for maybe 2 or 3 times a year that they used it. So it's
We had a
it's a
situation
spike
back
thing.
near us where the recreational vehicle sat beside the house for almost a week while somebody was living in it. I guess somebody was visiting from out of town, and they just parked it there and hooked up to their house.
All right, well, this would address that issue. You know, the long-term thing, this would address, because that's more than 4 hours and that's simple. It wouldn't address the, kind of the wise guy who, you know,
Right.
wants to keep moving it.
But
back
you
and
were
forth.
talking about it sitting in in the yard or something, that doesn't address that. Only if it was on the street.
No, we're only worried about if it's on the street. If they want to park it in their yard, I don't care. They're not taking up parking area.
Right.
Can I say something?
Yes.
If you have a family that says you can go on a month and have children, you cannot unload a trailer and clean it up in 4 hours.
4 hours, I agree with him. I mean, say somebody's going on a camping trip and they've got a fifth wheel. They're gonna load that thing, park it on the street intentionally, leave it 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So are you saying that it's going to be only allowed 4 hours on the street? Or are you saying they can come and get a permit also to park for 24 hours on the street?
Well, it depends which way you go. If you go with the first one that I had given you, then they can park it on the street for 24 hours if they get the permit, which we're not talking about charging them anything.
Right.
It's just a matter of coming down and getting the piece of paper that says you got it at this date, this time, and at this date, this time, it expires.
Okay,
If they can't do it in 24 hours,
something's wrong.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, okay.
But that would get back to Dawn's question, how many
How many times do they
24-hour
get it?
periods can you
Periods,
keep?
right.
Do you give it to them once a week, or do you give them, you know?
We would need to say that, because then you wouldn't know when they're entitled to one, or and when you can't just, or, arbitrarily say, well, that's enough for you.
And most people wouldn't violate that, but you're always going to have that one that is going to push it to the hill. Like the problems that we have now.
So you'd have to put in there not more than one within a certain time period, and I have no clue what to say for that time period.
Continuous 24-hour period.
Could you have a maximum per year?
Yeah, that's what I was
5?
thinking.
I don't know if that's
2
reasonable.
trips a year would be 4, loads and unloads.
And then Dawn would have to track that.
Well, I mean, this is changing, it's in our ordinance, it's changing that, so we'd have to still advertise for a public hearing, right?
Right.
So maybe we'll get some of the people that have those trailers might want to come and comment on it.
If we kept out except recreational vehicles, they could still do it within 4 hours.
I think that's a good idea.
They needed to do it in a shorter
Let the people that
period.
have the trailers come down
It
and
only
comment.
applies to towed vehicles.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Because, I mean,
But if we
it's-
take
it's a change in
that
the ordinance, so
part
you
out.
have to advertise it, and then you have to have
You
a
could
public
also do it
hearing
for 4.
for that, so,
But it
it's either
still needs to
24
be
or it's
written
not
up
at all.
right.
prior to them getting here, so that's a,
Well, they can only have it for one, if they want to come get the permit, and they only need to have 4 hours, then they only use 4 hours. Okay. But they can't use more than 24 hours.
So I'm just thinking like on the weekends, if they
Who-
want to
who's
get
gonna
up on a
enforce this?
Saturday morning.
Huh?
or something.
Who's going to enforce this?
Yeah, I guess that would be the parking enforcement person, wouldn't it? It comes under parking, it would be Bev.
we can give a parking ticket just like anything else.
Yeah,
And I think the ticket already has on there a fine for that. It's in the, I think, if you look back through it.
oh, they're on the back, I don't know. Well, that figures.
Okay, anybody got any suggestions so we can move on?
Let's run
So-
through some more in the work session.
Oversized vehicle parking.
I don't know about this.
Okay, well, it was brought up, well, how about if we bring it back up our next work session and then try to define it more?
Okay.
And then, how about we do that, John? We'll bring it up at our next work session, and then we'll try to define it, and then send you something that we might come up with at the work session.
That I could bring back for council meeting
Right.
to introduce, okay.
And then with this being televised tonight, maybe some of the people that have these campers and trailers and whatnot that do have the problem, maybe they'll come in and, they might see some of us or something on the street or something, and they might have some suggestions, so it's, we're open for any kind of suggestions. We don't want to penalize anybody, but then there again, we don't want to create a problem with people just parking trailers there to spite their neighbor.
They could be like Hampstead, where they can't put any of them. No person shall stop, stand, or park any motor vehicle, tractor, or over 20 horsepower recreational vehicle, camper, boat, trailer, or equipment except when necessary to avoid conflict with other traffic or in compliance with the direction of a police officer or traffic control device in any of the following places, which lists streets and crosswalks, intersections, in front of, on sidewalks, curbs, unpaved surfaces, so on and so forth. There was a couple of different ones that had different things.
Yeah, but these other places have 5 to 10 man police departments that can handle
Correct.
that.
Exactly.
Correct.
That's why they get paid the big bucks. Okay, we'll discuss it at our next work session again, see what we come up with.
Okay.
That
I
it?
think that's all I have. Wasn't that enough?
All right, Laura?
Mike, or actually Craig from Rodkey came today and replaced the street lamp that was hit by the truck a few months ago. I have 2 issues I wanted to bring up as public service announcements. First, with Halloween being this week, I'm worried about children in crosswalks. I read an article in the paper, actually online a few days ago, that Halloween is the deadliest pedestrian day of the whole year. So just be cautious looking out for children. I know there are the 2 crosswalks on Main Street. Any crosswalk in town, I think you take your life in your own hands when you cross. I was almost hit by a car 2 Saturdays ago on a run. A car was coming down 75 and wanted to slow down for the stop sign and not exactly stop, and I was in the crosswalk when he almost took me out. And then earlier this year, I was on Main Street crossing East Broadway. I had the white little guy on the crosswalk, and they had a red light. Same thing, he was just going to slow down and make a right onto Main Street, and by the time he stopped, I was in the crosswalk, and his driver window was right in front of me. If I would have been 1 step more, I would have been in the middle of Main Street. But I'm worried about the children. It's going to be dark. There's going to be a lot of children out there, so please watch out for children in the crosswalks on Halloween and any time. The second issue I wanted to bring up is that I'm an assistant coach for Girls in the Run. We meet at Elmer Wolf 2 days a week, and there is an extraordinary amount of dog feces on the school property, which I have no words that are kind to say about that. So it's wrong. I think the dog owners know that it's wrong. I don't know why it would be an acceptable thing to take your dog to a children's elementary school, but if it's you, please clean up after your dogs, because it's not cool.
Not only there, but down by our park.
Yes, it's everywhere, but a place where we know kids are going to be, it's on like the ball field diamond where, kids play.
Bobby Eckert said something to me a couple of months ago about that, but said that they have cameras outside the school now. Haven't they got them to where they can actually see through them now? Because they knew that somebody was coming there 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning with 2 huge dogs, large dogs, and taking them out on the school property. But at that time, they said they were just getting their cameras where they could get them focused in. Had they been able to?
I don't know about that. I know that some of the teachers have said there's one man who has 2 small dogs and one man who has 1 large dog, and they've actually seen them walking around. I don't think they've tried to stop them, but
Maybe they should.
I've seen them come up and down the street
yeah,
all the time.
it's wrong
Yeah,
on
they
every
should.
level. There's nothing right about that situation at all.
Well, we still have the gentleman that I talked about that goes up the street and goes by Selby's house every day. If I'd lived where Selby lived, I would already took care of that problem.
I haven't yet, but I will.
I saw him out there the other morning in his pajamas with his dog. So, people should be a little more courteous about their animals.
And he also takes the cover off the newspaper and throws it down on the sidewalk, the plastic sleeve.
That's all I have.
Okay, Edgar?
Gonna try to get with Jarrett to see if we can get a grant to replace the sign up the center. And I went over and checked the monument out, and we're trying to get a hold of, try to get it fixed maybe this week. Means the weather's supposed to be half decent. And so we need to have the branches moved away from the monument up there.
I can't hear you. I'm hard of hearing, and I don't have my wife beside me.
Speak up, Edgar.
Okay. So we need you to go up to the center and clean the branches away from the monument where I trimmed around the monument so you can come and resurface the monument.
And, yeah, and we're gonna try to take care of it. If we can get a washer, it's pricing today.
Okay.
And the scooters are bad as ever. And why someone had that hurt, I don't understand.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
That is. Donald?
Okay, Jimmy has got the dirt or topsoil around the benches down in the park now. He's got it pretty much leveled off. He's got grass, he's purchased grass seed, and he hopes to get it planted this week. So by next spring, that'll look pretty nice down there.
I think he did that today.
Did he do it? He said he did, whether we could get to it or not. And also, we had a request from residents on West Broadway, that when they did the street, when he's putting these lines in, their car drags going into the driveway. So Selby went down and put some coal patch, which was there before. Actually, it's where that brick house is across from Bud, and I've never heard anything, so I guess it's satisfactory.
They didn't say anything to me, so if they don't say anything, it's good.
Well, that's good too. And also, the chairperson of planting all those trees out there on Bowman's Meadow has requested if maybe we could possibly mow before winter sets in. So I spoke to Selby about it. He's going to check it out and see if actually they got the trees planted in a good position where you can go back and forth. But you just have to be careful because I don't know where. I know there's some ditches out there.
I walked it today.
Okay, did you see any ditches or?
Well, there's an old stream bed, and the stream has moved some, and part of it, it just planted on and tied a blue ribbon on it, and they weren't in any order, and I don't think you can get through them. And that Jinsu, whatever it was, they grew up in that. So I'll just mow what I can if you want me to mow it.
Yeah. Well,
And I hope we don't have to continue to mow it. I thought,
don't they have the plastic tubes on them?
no,
Okay. All right, and also we're going to hold the bingo on November the 8th at the community center for the Lutheran Food Pantry and the Masonic Building Fund down here. So anybody cares to go, let me know, and I'll save you a ticket.
Okay. Amy?
That's good. We've had a few calls due to water leaks, and we're in the process of fixing them right now. And also, as a public service thing, as Laura said, the mentoring program that was talked about through the schools, it was on the front page of the paper. The guidance counselor confronted me this past week, and she cannot make a Monday night meeting. She teaches at the college, but she is either going to send someone to speak with us or send us some paperwork about us becoming involved in that program here at the local school at Elmer Wolf. So she just asked me to spread the word.
And I think I forgot to mention last month, you have to be volunteer trained.
So, yeah. That's it.
Okay, one thing I forgot, we had one of our businesses in town that paid their assessment for their business tax. They paid that, and then they also made a $200 donation to the town to use as needed. And we thought that it would be a good idea, if you haven't seen it at the, like the 7-Eleven, the restaurant, and different places, they have these boxes where they say, take a box home. They send these boxes, this food home to kids on the weekends, because believe it or not, there are children at the school that do not eat all weekend because they don't have anything. So it's a program that was started last year, where you make donations and they bag up or box up a box of stuff that the kids can take home with them on the weekend so that they have something to eat during the weekend. And the council thought it would be a good idea to take this $200 donation and support these boxes for until that money runs out. It's not going to cost us anything. It was a donation. We could use it for a lot of things, but we felt that this was a good program that they have in the school. So we would like to do that with that money, and I just thought it would be nice to have that made as a motion at the meeting so that if the person sees that they made this donation, I'm not going to give their name because then I don't want everybody running to these people saying, well, you donated this. That's going to be kept anonymous, but so that they can see that we are using the money wisely. So if somebody would like to make, what do they call it, a
Pack a snack.
pack of snack.
Pack a snack.
Backpacks or something?
Yeah, yeah, backpack,
Somebody
pack a
would like
snack.
to make a motion to that effect, and we'll see that that takes.
I make a motion that we take the $200 donation from the local business and use it towards the backpack, pack a snack program.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any questions to that? Hearing none, all those in favor, ayes?
Aye.
Noes, okay, thank you. We'll take, Dawn, you'll see that we do something with that.
Yeah, I wasn't here.
And we even thought that we would even put a box out in the front foyer so when people see it, they can come in and they can make donations of like snacks or whatever, and then we can see that it's continuously. We don't have to do it just for now, but it's a good idea to do it the whole school season. It's something Mrs. Towson started out here last year because they saw a need for children that were in need of something to eat during the weekend. So it's been a very good program. Okay, do we have anything else?
One other thing I want to fill in, because I'd forgotten that Amy wasn't at the Planning Commission meeting earlier this month. The Planning Commission certified, it's consistent with the master plan, the update of the water and sewer master plan at its meeting. And it was pretty lengthy discussion and explanation by Andrea Gearhart from the county planning office. And we had, Ned and I had been back and forth with her on some of the text and the maps. And I think we got it all to a final, a good final form and with all the information accurate. It now shows the areas that are in existing versus planned versus long range for water and sewer service. And that's the update. It's actually the triennial update that started about 2 years ago. It was only partially accepted by the Maryland Department of the Environment. So there's been some back and forth with the county. There had to be some revisions, and the county thinks that this will be accepted. And now that was the Union Bridge portion. Each town has its own portion to approve, and then, of course, the county's got its portion. So everybody's going through that process. But it was, in fact, voted on by the Planning Commission, so that final draft is now part of the overall county proposal. I think that, between that and the wastewater treatment plan, I think those were the two main items.
Okay. Selby?
One more thing. I want to thank everyone that participated with the help for little Logan for his hospital treatment. That was Serenade Project, and Sailor really worked hard on. Edgar jumped in with us and gave us some help. We made $2,300.
Good, good. All those little things really help out a lot.
Yes, they do. and I got to learn people. People gave who didn't have to give.
Okay. Is there anything else for us? Our next council meeting will be November the 25th, which would be a couple days before Thanksgiving. So, like the ladies say, Thursday night is trick or treat if you don't. Yeah, council meeting will be the same, yeah.
And we
Yeah,
moved our
December
work
will
session.
And we moved the work session to the 4th.
Yes. Okay, hearing no further business, we're in line for adjournment.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any questions to that? All those in favor, ayes?
Aye.
No? Motion's carried. Thank you very much.